The launch of the UES Thunderchild was not just the unveiling of another warship. It was the declaration of humanity's arrival on the galactic stage, a vessel forged from the ingenuity, resilience, and hard-won lessons of a species that had spent millennia at war with itself. It was not the largest nor the most technologically advanced ship in the known galaxy, but what it represented was something far more important: the unpredictable nature of human tenacity. For centuries humanity had looked to the stars with a mix of wonder and trepidation. The expansion into space had been gradual, fraught with failures and setbacks, but once the first wave of colonies had been established beyond the Sol system, the realization set in. Humanity was no longer confined to Earth. The United Earth Government (UEG) had taken this as both a challenge and an opportunity, directing its resources toward preparing for the unknown. It was no longer a question of if they would meet alien life, but when. And so when the first hyperspace anomalies were detected at the edge of human-explored space, confirming the existence of other civilizations, humanity responded the only way it knew how: by building a warship. Unlike the sleek, energy-shielded vessels of the Galactic Confederation or the Fra Dominion's massive dreadnoughts, the UES Thunderchild was built with a different philosophy in mind. Survivability over elegance, lethality over diplomacy. A 750-meter behemoth of layered ablative armor, redundant internal compartments, and a weapons array that combined kinetic devastation with cutting-edge energy projection. Its most controversial design element was its sheer stubbornness. Other species relied on shield technology as their primary form of defense. The Thunderchild, however, was built to take a hit and keep fighting. Its armor was designed in overlapping segments meant to be shattered and replaced mid-battle. Every critical system had backups, sometimes 3, ensuring the ship could continue to function even if half of it was torn away. At the helm of this marvel of human engineering was Captain Jo Kim, a seasoned officer with over 2 decades of military service. Kim had been selected not just for her strategic brilliance, but for her ability to think like an underdog. She understood that humanity's strength had never come from superior firepower alone, but from adaptability, endurance, and the ability to turn disadvantages into advantages. The wider galaxy was not uncharted. It was a carefully balanced ecosystem of empires, coalitions, and warlords. The most influential power was the Galactic Confederation, a loose alliance of over 200 species that maintained stability through diplomacy and economic interdependence. The Confederation, while advanced, had grown complacent and had existed in relative peace for over 2 millennia, with internal conflicts rarely escalating beyond border skirmishes. But beyond the Confederation's borders lurked the Fra Dominion, an empire built on conquest. The Fra did not negotiate, nor did they tolerate the existence of species they deemed lesser. Their doctrine was simple: exterminate or enslave. For over 3 centuries they had been expanding, consuming civilizations that stood in their way. Humanity had unknowingly expanded into a sector that the Fra considered part of their inevitable domain. When reports came of a newly discovered, unaligned species developing military capabilities, the Fra reacted, as they always did, with immediate hostility. A Fra task force had been dispatched to make an example of these upstart primates. On board the UES Thunderchild, Captain Kim stood in the dimly lit command deck, staring at the holographic projection of the approaching Fra fleet. They were still hours away from engagement range, but the tension in the air was already suffocating. The bridge crew worked in quiet efficiency, but beneath the surface the weight of their situation was clear. This was humanity's first true test. Lieutenant Omar Das, the ship's tactical officer, studied the enemy formation with a mixture of fascination and anxiety. "They're coming in fast," Das murmured. 3 heavy cruisers, 5 destroyers, no escorts. That's unusual. "They don't think they need them," Captain Kim said, her voice steady. "They assume we'll surrender or be destroyed in the first salvo." The idea of surrender was not an option. Humanity had learned from its own history that surrender to an empire like the Fra meant annihilation. There would be no negotiation, only survival or extinction. Chief Engineer Luka Petrov, ever the pessimist, let out a low whistle. "Hope our armor works as advertised." "It will," Kim said, her expression unreadable, "and if it doesn't we'll make them regret ever underestimating us." Aboard the lead Fra cruiser, warleader Jarek barely considered the battle ahead worthy of his attention. He had crushed civilizations before, burned planets, and watched their inhabitants beg for mercy before being incinerated. The idea that a species still in its first interstellar warship could pose a threat was laughable. His second-in-command, Ularis, studied the human vessel's specifications with mild curiosity. "It is," crude Ularis noted, "no shielding. Hull structure suggests an archaic kinetic-based weapon system. Their reactors are pitiful." Jarek scoffed. "Then this will be nothing more than target practice." They had encountered dozens of civilizations attempting to resist them. All had fallen within moments. This would be no different. Back aboard the Thunderchild, Captain Kim gave the order battle stations. The crew moved in precise synchrony. The ship's kinetic railguns, designed to launch depleted uranium slugs at relativistic speeds, hummed as they were primed. The experimental plasma projectors came online, their energy levels fluctuating as the ship's reactor adjusted to the demand. Torpedo tubes were loaded with APX warheads, weapons designed to tear through capital ships with brutal efficiency. But more than their weaponry, their real advantage was their mindset. They were not here to engage in the same kind of ritualized warfare the Confederation species followed. They were not here to fight like the Fra expected them to. They were here to win, no matter the cost. The moment the Thunderchild's weapons struck the Fra patrol ship, Captain Arya Cade knew the diplomatic nature of their mission was over. They had expected resistance, of course. Anytime a new species entered the galactic stage, there were always those who would test them, but the Fra Dominion wasn't just a territorial nuisance. They were conquerors, subjugators, a species that had ruled through brutality and intimidation for centuries, and now, for the first time in recorded history, one of their patrols had not only met resistance, but suffered real damage. As the first enemy vessel faltered, spewing purple energy from its punctured propulsion systems, the remaining two adjusted tactics. They had clearly underestimated humanity's capabilities, expecting an easy kill. Now their formations tightened, weapons locked with more precision, their movements more cautious but no less aggressive. The Thunderchild was under no illusions. This battle wasn't over. Helm evasive maneuvers, Cade ordered, gripping the edge of her command console as the ship shuddered from another impact. Maintain firing solution on the lead ship. Lieutenant Omar Das at tactical nodded sharply, already adjusting firing solutions. Lead vessel compensating for damage, attempting to reroute power to secondary thrusters. The Fra were relentless. Their forward-swept warships, designed to strike fast and overpower weaker vessels, were recalibrating to deal with an opponent that refused to roll over. The second ship had already adjusted its targeting systems, unloading another barrage that rocked the Thunderchild harder. This time red warning lights flashed along the command consoles, and sparks erupted from an overhead conduit, briefly illuminating the bridge in a cascade of orange light. Outer hull layer compromised in sections 5 through 8. Chief Engineer Luka Petrov called out, "Ablative armor is holding, but we can't take these hits indefinitely." Cade nodded, her mind working rapidly. The Thunderchild had been built with redundancy in mind, 6 progressive hull layers designed to absorb impacts and protect critical systems beneath, but the Fra were adapting, and that meant they had to do the same. "Execute pattern echo," Cade ordered. "Let's make ourselves a harder target." The Thunderchild banked sharply, rolling mid-maneuver to angle its most intact armor toward the enemy. The ship's hybrid thrusters flared blue as it weaved unpredictably through the barrage, the Fra adjusting but struggling to land clean hits. Meanwhile, the Thunderchild's railguns continued to fire, each shot guided by an advanced AI that calculated minute corrections based on the Fra's own evasive maneuvers. It was a game of speed, precision, and attrition. "They're broadcasting something," Callie Rhodes, the communications officer, announced, translating now. A guttural voice filled the bridge, rough and commanding, laced with the confidence of a predator who had never known defeat. "Primitive vessel power down and prepare to be boarded. Resistance is futile against the Fra Dominion." A slow, knowing smile curved Cade's lips. "They think we're done for. They're about to find out otherwise," Das muttered, fingers tightening over his console as the weapon systems recalibrated. Cade turned to Rhodes. "Send no response." Then to tactical she issued the next order: "Target the lead vessel's secondary propulsion. Disable, don't destroy. Let's show them we're not the easy prey they expected." The Thunderchild's main batteries thrummed as they charged, the ship's power momentarily fluctuating as the railguns prepared another salvo. Then, with a synchronized burst, hypervelocity rounds shot through the void, streaking toward the damaged Fra ship. The projectile struck true, tearing through the vessel's secondary propulsion systems, sending it spiraling off course, its engines flickering in the darkness. "Direct hit," Das confirmed, a hint of satisfaction in his usually professional tone. "Their mobility is crippled." But the other Fra warship had been waiting for just such an opportunity. As the Thunderchild focused on disabling its crippled ally, the remaining attacker adjusted its vector, angling for an attack run that would expose the weakest part of the Thunderchild's hull. The move was calculated, strategic. The Fra had learned. "They're charging a high-energy weapon," Science Officer Ethan Voss reported, his fingers dancing across his console, reading massive power buildup. "It's not a conventional energy weapon, it's something heavier." Cade's gaze hardened, defensive screens to maximum, all hands brace for impact. The damaged Fra ship, still drifting, suddenly erupted in a massive explosion as its own compromised reactor failed. The burst of energy sent shockwaves rippling outward, and for a moment sensor readings went haywire, but through the chaos the last remaining Fra warship launched its final desperate attack. A beam of searing purple energy lanced across space, a concentrated burst of power that struck the Thunderchild's defensive screens with enough force to momentarily blind the sensors. The ship rocked violently as the shields strained against the assault energy cascading along the hull in chaotic arcs. Screens holding but barely. Petrov shouted over the alarm's 20% capacity and dropping. Cade's mind raced. They were outmatched in raw firepower, but humanity had never relied solely on brute strength. They had something more valuable: ingenuity. Execute contingency protocol, Cham, she ordered. Her officers hesitated for only a fraction of a second before nodding. They had practiced this maneuver in simulations, but deploying it in a real battle was another matter entirely. Deploying decoy drones and preparing for blackout. DOS confirmed. From the Thunderchild's hull, dozens of small drones shot outward, each one emitting the exact energy signature of the ship itself. At the same time, the warship's primary systems powered down, leaving only minimal life support and passive sensors online. To the Fra's sensors, the human vessel suddenly seemed to split into multiple identical targets, each one broadcasting the same power readings, the same shield fluctuations. The battlefield was now a chaotic mess of false signals and misdirection. The Thunderchild drifted in the darkness, appearing to be nothing more than a crippled hulk, its systems seemingly offline. The last remaining Fra warship hesitated, confused, its targeting systems unable to distinguish real from false. "They're taking the bait," Rhodes whispered, watching as the Fra ship split its attention, its weapons swiveling between decoys. Cade's lips curled into a knowing smirk. "Begin power-up sequence, target their bridge." The Thunderchild roared back to life, its systems surging online in perfect synchronization. The sudden burst of power was a shock to the Fra warship, whose weapons were still trained on one of the decoys. They had no time to adjust before the Thunderchild's full arsenal fired as one. Kinetic rounds slammed into the Fra vessel's hull, bypassing weakened shields, while plasma beams melted through its armor. The final Fra warship, once confident in its superiority, now found itself on the receiving end of destruction. It detonated in a brilliant explosion, its burning wreckage drifting into the abyss. Silence fell over the bridge. Then, at last, DOS spoke. "All enemy vessels neutralized." Cade exhaled slowly, her grip on the console finally loosening. "Damage report. Multiple hull breaches, but all critical systems remain operational." Petrov reported. "We're still flying." Cade turned to Rhodes. "Send a message to Earth Command, inform them we've made first contact with the Fra Dominion." She allowed herself a small smile. "And let the Confederation know we'll still be attending their meeting." The Thunderchild drifted forward, its battle-scarred hull illuminated by the distant star. Humanity had just announced its presence to the galaxy, not with words, but with action, and the galaxy would never be the same. The UES Thunderchild, having narrowly survived its initial encounter with the Fra Dominion, now faced the daunting task of preparing for the inevitable retaliation. Captain Jo Kim, resolute and unyielding, stood at the helm, her mind a whirlwind of strategies and contingencies. The crew, though battle-worn, moved with a renewed sense of purpose, each member acutely aware of the storm looming on the horizon. In the days following their skirmish, the Thunderchild had retreated to a secluded sector, a temporary haven where repairs could be expedited without the looming threat of immediate discovery. Chief Engineer Duan led his team with relentless vigor, coaxing the ship's systems back to optimal performance. The scars of battle were mended, but the memory of their brush with annihilation lingered, a stark reminder of the stakes at hand. Meanwhile, Science Officer Tong Kong delved into the data collected during their engagement with the Fra. The enemy's weaponry, characterized by its gravitic compression technology, posed a significant challenge. Kang's analysis revealed that the Fra's beams could manipulate gravitational fields to amplify their destructive potential, a discovery that sent ripples of concern through the tactical team. Lieutenant Subin Park, ever vigilant, collaborated closely with Kong to devise countermeasures. They proposed modifications to the Thunderchild's shield harmonics, aiming to disperse the energy of the Fra's beams across a broader spectrum, thereby reducing their impact. It was a theoretical solution, untested in the crucible of combat, but it offered a glimmer of hope against an otherwise insurmountable threat. As preparations continued, a priority transmission from Earth Command pierced the relative calm of the Thunderchild sanctuary. Admiral Elias Carter's visage appeared on the main view screen, his expression grave yet resolute. "Captain Kim," he began, "we've received intelligence that the Fra Dominion is mobilizing a fleet. Their trajectory suggests a direct course toward our sector. We estimate their arrival within 72 hours. The weight of the revelation settled over the bridge like a shroud. The crew exchanged solemn glances, the reality of their predicament crystallizing in stark clarity. "Understood, Admiral," Kim replied, her voice steady. "We'll continue our preparations and stand ready to engage." Carter nodded, his gaze unwavering. "Reinforcements are en route, but they may not arrive in time. The Thunderchild may have to hold the line alone until they do." "I have every confidence in your command, Captain. Earth's fate may well rest in your hands." The transmission ended, leaving the crew to grapple with the enormity of their responsibility. Kim straightened, her resolve hardening into an unbreakable core. "All hands," she announced, her voice resonating through the ship's intercom, "we are the vanguard of Earth's defense. The Fra Dominion approaches with the intent to annihilate, but we will not falter. We will meet them head-on and show them that humanity stands united and unyielding. Prepare for battle." The crew responded with a unified affirmation, their collective determination forging an unspoken pact. They were the thin line between survival and extinction, and they would not waver. In the ensuing hours, the Thunderchild transformed into a bastion of readiness. Weapon systems were calibrated to peak efficiency, shield modifications were implemented under Kang's watchful eye, and tactical drills were conducted with relentless precision. Each crew member embraced their role with unwavering commitment, the specter of the Fra invasion fueling their resolve. As the deadline loomed, the Thunderchild emerged from its refuge, positioning itself along the projected path of the Fra fleet. The vastness of space stretched before them, a silent expanse that belied the impending maelstrom. On the bridge, Kim stood flanked by her senior officers, each poised at their stations. The tension was palpable, a taut wire stretched to its limit. "Time to contact?" Kim inquired, her gaze fixed on the view screen. "Approximately 6 hours, Captain," Voss replied, his fingers dancing over the navigation console. Kim nodded, her mind a nexus of strategy and contingency. "Maintain current position. All stations, report readiness." One by one, the confirmations came, each officer affirming their preparedness. The Thunderchild was as ready as it could be, a solitary sentinel against the encroaching darkness. As the hours dwindled, the crew settled into a focused rhythm, each task executed with meticulous care. Conversations were sparse, replaced by the symphony of beeping consoles and the hum of the ship's systems. Finally, the moment arrived. Sensors flared to life, detecting the signatures of multiple vessels emerging from warp. The Fra fleet had arrived. "Visual contact," Park announced, her tone devoid of emotion, a testament to her discipline. The view screen flickered, revealing the ominous silhouettes of Fra warships arrayed in a formidable formation. Their sleek, angular designs exuded an air of predatory menace, a stark contrast to the Thunderchild's stalwart presence. Kim's eyes narrowed, her mind assessing the tactical landscape. The Fra outnumbered them significantly, their advantage and firepower unmistakable. But retreat was not an option. They would stand and fight, embodying the indomitable spirit of humanity. "All hands, battle stations," Kim commanded, her voice a clarion call to action. "Prepare to engage." The Thunderchild surged forward, its weapons arrays locking onto the nearest Fra vessels. The void between the opposing forces crackled with impending violence, the prelude to a symphony of destruction. The Fra struck first, their gravitic beams lancing through the darkness with lethal precision. But the Thunderchild's modified shields absorbed the on. The UES Thunderchild had emerged from the crucible of battle, its hull bearing the scars of conflict, but its spirit unbroken. The crew's resilience had seen them through the darkest hours, and now, with the immediate threat of the Fra Dominion repelled, a new chapter awaited them, a mission into uncharted space where unknown challenges and discoveries beckoned. Captain Jo Kim stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the vast expanse displayed on the main view screen. The stars stretched endlessly, a tapestry of light and mystery beside her. Commander Voss reviewed the latest navigational data, plotting a course that would take them beyond the known boundaries of human exploration. "All systems are operational," Captain Voss reported, his tone reflecting a mix of anticipation and caution. "We're ready to proceed into Sector 14B as per our mission parameters." Kim nodded, her expression thoughtful. Engage at Warp 6, Commander. Let's see what awaits us in the uncharted frontier. The Thunderchild's engines hummed to life, propelling the ship forward into the unknown. The crew, though seasoned by recent trials, felt a renewed sense of purpose. Exploration was at the heart of their mission, and the prospect of venturing into unexplored space ignited a collective excitement. As they journeyed deeper into Sector 14B, the ship's sensors began to detect anomalies, subtle fluctuations in spatial readings that defied conventional understanding. Science Officer Tong Kong immersed himself in the data, his analytical mind racing to decipher the patterns. Captain Kong called out, his eyes narrowing at the console. We're encountering gravitational distortions that don't align with any known celestial bodies in this region. It's as if space itself is being manipulated. Kim approached the science station, her curiosity piqued. Could it be remnants of Fra technology, perhaps a cloaked installation? Kong shook his head. The signatures don't match Fra technology. This is something different, something we haven't encountered before. The captain considered this, her mind weighing the possibilities. Maintain our course, but proceed with caution. Let's gather more data before drawing any conclusions. As the Thunderchild advanced, the anomalies grew more pronounced. The distortions began to affect the ship's systems, causing intermittent fluctuations in power and navigation. Chief Engineer Duan and his team worked tirelessly to stabilize the systems, their expertise keeping the ship operational amidst the challenges. Amidst these technical trials, the crew's morale remained steadfast. They had faced adversity before and emerged stronger. This uncharted territory was merely another test of their mettle. The camaraderie that had been forged in battle now served as a foundation for their exploratory endeavors. One evening, as the ship cruised through the star-speckled void, Lieutenant Subin Park found herself in the observation lounge, gazing out at the mesmerizing vista. The vastness of space had always been a source of inspiration for her, a reminder of the endless possibilities that lay beyond the horizon. She was soon joined by Ensign Malik, a young officer with a keen interest in astrophysics. His eyes reflected the same wonder that Park felt, a shared appreciation for the mysteries of the cosmos. It's incredible, isn't it? Malik remarked, his voice tinged with awe. To think that we're the first humans to set eyes on this part of the galaxy. Park nodded, a smile touching her lips. It's moments like these that remind us why we chose this path, to explore, to discover, to push the boundaries of our understanding. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime from the intercom. Lieutenant Park, please report to the bridge, came the voice of Commander Voss. Exchanging a brief glance with Malik, Park made her way to the bridge, her mind shifting back to duty. Upon arrival, she found the senior staff gathered around the tactical station, their expression serious. Lieutenant Voss began, we've detected an object ahead, stationary but emitting energy signatures that are unusual. Park studied the readings, her brow furrowing. It appears to be a structure of some kind, but its design doesn't match any known civilizations. The energy output is stable, yet the composition is unlike anything in our database. Captain Kim considered this information, her gaze fixed on the view screen where a faint silhouette could be discerned against the backdrop of stars. Bring us within a safe distance and initiate a detailed scan. Let's find out what we're dealing with. As the Thunderchild approached the enigmatic structure, the ship's sensors probed its dimensions and composition. The data revealed a complex array of materials and technologies, some familiar, others entirely alien. Captain Kong reported, his voice tinged with excitement. This structure appears to be a nexus of multiple technologies, some of which resemble ancient human designs, while others are completely foreign. It's as if this place is a convergence point for various civilizations. The revelation sparked a flurry of hypotheses among the crew. Could this be a relic of an ancient alliance, a repository of knowledge from disparate cultures? Kim weighed the risks and rewards of further investigation. The potential for discovery was immense, but so were the dangers inherent in exploring an unknown construct. Prepare an away team, she ordered. Will proceed with caution, but this is an opportunity we cannot pass up. The away team, led by Commander Voss and comprising Lieutenant Park, Science Officer Kong, and a contingent of security personnel, assembled in the transporter room. Each member was equipped with advanced scanning equipment and protective gear, ready to face the uncertainties ahead. As they materialized within the structure, they found themselves in a vast chamber illuminated by a soft ambient glow. The architecture was a harmonious blend of styles, sleek metallic surfaces intertwined with organic-looking formations. Strange symbols adorned the walls, pulsating faintly with an unknown energy. Park activated her scanner, her voice hushed with reverence. These markings, they resemble early Terran script, but with modifications I don't recognize. It's as if someone took ancient Earth languages and evolved them separately. Kong moved toward a central console, his fingers hovering over what appeared to be a control interface. If this is a repository of knowledge, it may contain information that could change our understanding of galactic history. As he activated the console, the chamber came to life. Holographic projections flickered into existence, stars, planets, and figures clad in ceremonial garb. A voice deep and resonant filled the chamber, speaking in a language that seemed just beyond comprehension. Kim's voice crackled over the comm. "Away team, report what's happening." Voss responded, his voice steady despite the awe he felt. "Captain, we may have just found a lost civilization." The UES Thunderchild, having navigated the perils of uncharted space and uncovered the enigmatic nexus, now faced a new challenge, deciphering the secrets held within the ancient repository. The crew's recent experiences had forged them into a resilient unit, ready to confront the mysteries of the past to secure humanity's future. Captain Jo Kim convened her senior officers in the ship's conference room, the atmosphere charged with anticipation. The holographic display at the center of the table projected intricate schematics of the Nexus, highlighting areas of interest identified during their initial exploration. "Our primary objective," Kim began, her gaze sweeping across her officers, "is to access the Nexus's central database. Science Officer Kong believes it contains invaluable information about the civilizations that contributed to its construction. Understanding this could provide us with technological advancements and strategic advantages, especially in light of recent encounters." Kong nodded, his expression reflecting both excitement and caution. The Nexus's architecture suggests a complex security system, likely designed to protect its contents from unauthorized access. "We'll need to proceed carefully to avoid triggering any defensive protocols." "Lieutenant Park," Kim continued, turning to her tactical officer, "coordinate with Kong to develop a plan for bypassing these security measures. Chief Engineer Duan, ensure that our systems are prepared to interface with the Nexus without compromising the Thunderchild's integrity." The officers acknowledged their assignments, understanding the gravity of the task ahead. The Nexus represented a convergence of knowledge from countless civilizations, and unlocking its secrets could alter the course of human history. As the team delved into their preparations, the Thunderchild maintained a geostationary orbit around the Nexus. The crew's routine blended seamlessly with the extraordinary nature of their mission, each member contributing their expertise to the collective effort. In the ship's laboratory, Kong and Park pored over data streams, analyzing the Nexus's security algorithms. The patterns were intricate, a testament to the advanced intellects that had designed them. "It's like peeling back layers of an onion," Park mused, her eyes scanning the holographic display. "Each decrypted code reveals another, more complex layer beneath." Kong nodded, his fingers dancing over the console. "We need to identify a common thread, something that links these layers together. A universal constant that we can exploit to gain access." Their breakthrough came unexpectedly. While cross-referencing the Nexus's energy signatures with known cosmic phenomena, they discovered a correlation with a specific harmonic frequency, a resonance that appeared to be a universal constant across multiple civilizations. This frequency, Kong explained to the assembled team, seems to be a foundational element in the Nexus's design. "If we can modulate our interface to match this resonance, we might be able to bypass the security protocols without triggering any defenses." With this insight, Duan and his engineering team modified the Thunderchild systems to emit the precise harmonic frequency. The process required meticulous calibration, as even a minor deviation could result in catastrophic consequences. Once the modifications were complete, the team initiated the interface. The ship hummed with a subtle vibration as the harmonic resonance synchronized with the Nexus. Moments later, the main view screen illuminated with streams of data, ancient knowledge flowing into the Thunderchild's databases. "We're in," Kong announced, his voice tinged with awe. "Accessing the Nexus's central database now." The data was vast, encompassing millennia of information from countless civilizations. The crew worked tirelessly to catalog and interpret the influx, prioritizing technological advancements and historical records that could benefit humanity. Among the discoveries were detailed schematics of advanced propulsion systems, energy weapons, and defensive technologies. These innovations had the potential to revolutionize Earth's capabilities, providing a significant edge in future encounters. However, interspersed with these technological treasures were cautionary tales, records of civilizations that had fallen due to hubris, internal strife, or external threats. These accounts served as sobering reminders of the responsibilities that accompany great power. As the crew delved deeper, they uncovered references to a cataclysmic event, a cosmic phenomenon that had periodically swept through the galaxy, causing widespread devastation. The Nexus's creators had built the repository not only to preserve knowledge but also to warn future civilizations of this impending threat. According to these records, Kong reported, the phenomenon, referred to as the eclipse wave, is a massive energy surge originating from the galactic core. It occurs roughly every 100,000 years and has the potential to disrupt planetary ecosystems and technological infrastructures. The revelation sent a ripple of unease through the senior staff. If the Nexus's data was accurate, the next occurrence of the eclipse wave was imminent, within the next few decades. We need to relay this information to Earth Command immediately, Kim asserted, her demeanor resolute. Preparations must begin to safeguard our planet and colonies from this threat. The Thunderchild transmitted the Nexus's data to Earth, accompanied by detailed analyses and recommendations. The response from Earth Command was swift, acknowledging the gravity of the situation and mobilizing resources to address the impending crisis. In the meantime, the Thunderchild remained stationed at the Nexus, continuing to extract and interpret its wealth of knowledge. The crew's dedication was unwavering, driven by the dual imperatives of advancing human technology and averting cosmic catastrophe. Amidst these endeavors, the UES Thunderchild had become a beacon of hope and discovery, its journey through uncharted space leading to the monumental find of the Nexus, a repository of ancient knowledge from countless civilizations. The crew's efforts to unlock its secrets had unveiled both technological marvels and ominous warnings, setting the stage for humanity's next steps in the cosmic arena. Captain Jo Kim stood on the bridge, her eyes reflecting the weight of recent revelations. The data concerning the impending eclipse wave, a catastrophic energy surge from the galactic core, had been transmitted to Earth Command, prompting a flurry of activity back home. Yet, amidst these preparations, another discovery within the Nexus demanded immediate attention. Commander Voss, what's the status of the new data stream we've accessed? Kim inquired, her tone steady despite the underlying urgency. Voss glanced up from his console, his expression a mix of intrigue and concern. Captain, we've identified coordinates pointing to a distant star system, designated Epsilon Eridani. The Nexus's records suggest it's the origin point of one of the contributing civilizations. There are indications of advanced technology and infrastructure that could be pivotal in our efforts against the eclipse wave. The captain considered this information, her mind racing through the possibilities. If there's even a chance that this system holds resources or knowledge to help us mitigate the wave's impact, we must investigate. Plot a course to Epsilon Eridani, best possible speed. The Thunderchild's engines roared to life, propelling the ship toward its new destination. The journey would take several weeks, providing the crew ample time to analyze the Nexus's data further and prepare for potential challenges ahead. During this transit, Science Officer Tong Kong and his team delved deeper into the Nexus's archives, focusing on the civilization linked to Epsilon Eridani. They uncovered references to the Eridani Ascendancy, a society renowned for its mastery of energy manipulation and planetary defense mechanisms. Their technological advancements were centuries ahead of their contemporaries, Kong explained during a briefing. If any civilization had the means to counteract or withstand the eclipse wave, it would be the Eridani Ascendancy. Lieutenant Subin Park, the ship's tactical officer, leaned forward, her interest piqued. Do we have any information on what led to their decline or disappearance? Kong shook his head. The records are incomplete. It's unclear whether they fell victim to the eclipse wave or some other catastrophe. That's another reason this mission is crucial, to learn from their fate and avoid repeating their mistakes. As the Thunderchild approached the Epsilon Eridani system, the crew prepared for the unknown. The star system's proximity to Earth had made it a subject of speculation for centuries, but its secrets had remained elusive, until now. Entering the Epsilon Eridani system, Captain Voss reported, his hands deftly navigating the controls. The view screen displayed a vibrant star surrounded by several planets, one of which immediately stood out. A blue-green world with visible artificial structures, evidence of the Eridani Ascendancy's legacy. Scan the planet for life signs and technological activity, Kim ordered, her gaze fixed on the enigmatic world. Kang's fingers danced over his console as he analyzed the incoming data, detecting minimal life signs, primarily lower-order organisms. However, there are significant energy readings emanating from several locations on the surface, likely remnants of advanced technologies still in operation. The captain nodded, her decision swift. Assemble an away team. Commander Voss, Lieutenant Park, and Science Officer Kong, you're with me. Chief Engineer Duan, you'll monitor from the ship and be prepared to assist remotely. The away team materialized on the planet's surface, finding themselves amidst towering structures that had withstood the test of time. The architecture was both alien and awe-inspiring, a testament to the Eridani Ascendancy's ingenuity. These buildings have remained intact for millennia, Park observed, her voice echoing through the deserted streets. It's as if the city was abandoned overnight. Kong approached a nearby console, its surface covered in a thin layer of dust. Let's see if we can access their systems and uncover what happened here. As he interfaced with the console, holographic displays flickered to life, projecting streams of data in an unfamiliar script. The ship's universal translator struggled momentarily before rendering the text into readable language. According to these logs, Kong began, his brow furrowing as he deciphered the information. The Eridani Ascendancy detected the approaching eclipse wave and initiated a planetary defense protocol. They constructed massive energy shields designed to repel the surge. However, there's no record of the outcome. Voss surveyed the surroundings, his expression contemplative. If their defenses failed, it could explain the absence of higher life forms. But if they succeeded, perhaps they evacuated, leaving the planet to recover naturally. Kim considered both scenarios, her resolve firming. We need to locate their primary control center. If the defense systems are still operational, we might be able to adapt their technology to protect Earth and our colonies. The team navigated the labyrinthine city, guided by Kang's scans toward a central structure that dwarfed the surrounding buildings. The UES Thunderchild had ventured into the Epsilon Eridani system, uncovering remnants of the Eridani Ascendancy, a civilization renowned for its mastery of energy manipulation and planetary defense mechanisms. The away team's exploration of the deserted city yielded crucial insights into the Ascendancy's attempts to counteract the catastrophic eclipse wave, a massive energy surge originating from the galactic core. Captain Jo Kim and her team stood before the central control console within the Ascendancy's primary control center. Science Officer Ton Kong worked diligently to interface with the ancient system, aiming to extract data that could be pivotal in humanity's efforts to mitigate the impending threat of the eclipse wave. Accessing the main database now, Kong announced, his fingers gliding over the console's holographic interface. Moments later, streams of data filled the air, displaying schematics, energy readings, and logs detailing the Ascendancy's defense strategies. Lieutenant Subin Park analyzed the information, her tactical mind piecing together the Ascendancy's approach. They constructed a series of orbital platforms designed to generate a planetary-scale energy shield. These platforms harnessed energy from the planet's magnetic field, creating a protective barrier against external threats. Commander Elias Voss reviewed the logs, noting the Ascendancy's meticulous planning. They anticipated the eclipse wave's arrival and activated the shield accordingly. However, the logs indicate that the energy surge was more intense than their projections, overwhelming the shield's capacity. Captain Kim's expression was resolute. We need to learn from their experience. If we can enhance their technology and adapt it to our needs, we might be able to protect Earth and our colonies from the eclipse wave. Chief Engineer Duan, monitoring the away team's progress from the Thunderchild, proposed a plan. Captain, if we can retrieve one of the orbital platforms and integrate its systems with our own, we could analyze its design and functionality in detail. This would provide invaluable data for developing our defense mechanisms. Kim nodded in agreement. Let's locate the nearest platform and initiate retrieval operations. Time is of the essence. The away team returned to the Thunderchild, and the ship's sensors scanned the planet's orbit for intact platforms. They identified a structure relatively unscathed by time and the eclipse wave's aftermath. "Prepare a shuttle for retrieval operations," Kim ordered. "Commander Voss, Lieutenant Park, and Chief Engineer Duan, you're with me." The shuttle approached the derelict platform, its massive structure looming against the backdrop of space. Duan initiated docking procedures, and the team boarded the platform, their suits' lights cutting through the darkness. Inside, they found the control center, eerily preserved. Duan interfaced with the platform systems, his engineering expertise allowing him to navigate the ancient technology. "The platform's energy matrix is still intact," Duan reported. "With some modifications, we can reactivate it and run diagnostics to understand its capabilities and limitations." The team worked meticulously, bringing the platform systems online. Data flowed into their consoles, revealing the intricacies of the Ascendancy's energy shield technology. Back on the Thunderchild, Kong and his science team analyzed the incoming data. "The platform's design is ingenious," Kong remarked. "It utilizes a resonant energy field, harmonizing with the planet's magnetic field to create a stable shield. However, the energy requirements to counteract the eclipse wave's intensity exceeded the platform's capacity." Captain Kim considered this information. "If we can enhance the energy output and reinforce the shield's structural integrity, we might be able to develop a defense system capable of withstanding the eclipse wave." The crew collaborated tirelessly, integrating the Ascendancy's technology with their own advancements. They developed a prototype energy shield, designed to protect entire planets from external energy surges. With the prototype ready, the Thunderchild transmitted their findings to Earth Command. The response was swift, authorizing the construction of planetary defense arrays across Earth's colonies, utilizing the newly developed technology. As the eclipse wave's projected arrival loomed closer, humanity mobilized, constructing the defense arrays with unprecedented unity and determination. The Thunderchild played a pivotal role, its crew's discoveries serving as the foundation for the defense initiatives. On the day of the eclipse wave's arrival, the defense arrays were activated. The energy shields enveloped each planet, shimmering barriers standing between civilization and the impending cosmic storm. The wave struck with a force beyond previous measurements, its energy threatening to overwhelm the shields. However, the enhancements derived from the Ascendancy's technology held firm, dispersing the energy and safeguarding the planets. Cheers erupted across the colonies as the wave passed, leaving the shields intact and populations unharmed. The Thunderchild's crew watched the readings, relief and pride evident on their faces. Captain Kim addressed her crew, her voice filled with gratitude. "We've not only protected our people but also honored the legacy of the Eridani Ascendancy. Their knowledge, combined with our resolve, has ensured humanity's survival." The Thunderchild's mission had transcended exploration, becoming a beacon of hope and resilience. The crew's journey into the unknown had forged a path for humanity's future, one where the lessons of the past illuminated the way forward. As the ship set